What's up, y'all? It's Rev, back with another video. I make music as summer starved. I'm a record producer, songwriter, joyful noise chaser. So glad to have you with us for another video. This is an introduction to probably what will be a few different videos where I deep dive into my new single, Hand Rolled. So I'm gonna jump into Ableton and show you some of the approach when I came to making this record. I did just about everything, good, bad, and ugly on this record, except for drums and mastering. This is a little bit of an introduction to give you a backstory. Well, my story, I should say. In 2013, I raised some money via Kickstarter, and then I recorded a record. During that time, I had to pay for everything, essentially. I booked a studio, paid for a recording engineer, a mixing engineer, a mastering engineer. I had my buddy produce it. It was a really incredible experience. It was the first time I tried to do a full length, and it was like an initial step in what I would do musically for the next decade. What I learned from that experience is that I felt my hands were tied. I didn't know what I was doing. And I had to rely on other people to do everything for me. And shout out to paying people who are better than you. It'll give you a better product. I didn't know what I was doing, and people pay for two things: what they don't want to do and what they can't do. And I couldn't do these things, but I really wanted to learn how to. So I made the record, I promoted it a little bit. I did like a record release show, and 900 copies of that are still sitting underneath my bed. It was a really great snapshot of what I was doing at the time, but the way that I approached it afterwards, I didn't market it. I didn't really know what was going on. Social media wasn't that big. I was getting married. I just didn't have the energy to put into it. All to say, when I made that record, it unlocked something in me. I want to figure out how to do this. I didn't know nothing about music business. I didn't know how to make money at it. I just knew that I wanted to do it. So it lit a fire under me to really pursue this. So I took all the stems from the recording, the bass, the drums, or whatever, all the different mics that we did, everything that we put together. I just took them and would run them individually out of my laptop. I had a headphone jack, and I was running it into the sampler that my brother-in-law had gifted me. And the sampler didn't have memory on it, so every time I turned off the sampler, any of the project that I made was lost. So then I would just record that onto a 4-track tape machine, and you could check out some videos of me going through some of the old mixtapes I made. I really just dug in. I wanted to figure out how to make sound. I found Ableton. I got obsessed with Ableton and learned everything I could inside and out. Was just trying to come up with ways of how do I make a recording sound good? Why am I telling you all this? Well, I tell you this just to get a little bit of backstory about who I am. And if you are in a similar situation, it's available for you to go and learn how to do this. And the best way to do it is just take your own stuff and make it. And a lot of you are probably already doing that. I'm going to dive into just sort of the process and how I make stuff and how I mix as I'm going, particularly on this record, talk through a little bit about it. Yeah, so I hope you find it useful. I hope you learn something. Again, this is me just DIYing it, trying to figure it out on my own. Always growing, always getting better, hopefully. But if you find it useful, go ahead and watch the rest of the videos in this series, and go ahead and give it a like, a subscribe, and all that jazz. All right, let's dive in.